Hey guys, Zach here with Minimal Escapes, and today I want to bring you guys along with me to show you how I brought this terrarium back from basically the brink of ending to a thriving whole new ecosystem. So, let's go. So the first thing that I want to do with this restoration is just remove everything that's kind of dead or wilting, like this plant up here, about the snake plant. I'm also going to remove a lot of the botanicals, so the leaves, acorn caps, and even some of the moss in the front, just to kind of clean up the area and make it easier to work with. So let's remove that. Now on the ground here, I've gotten rid of most of what isn't part of the structure of the terrarium. All I want to do is just kind of move all this dirt that's back here above this snake plant and just kind of rearrange it, maybe take some out. Just get it so that it's not completely covering the snake plant and I can mount it up and get stuff behind it as well. So as I'm moving the dirt around in here, you can see it doesn't really keep its shape and it's sort of hard to work with. It's just so dry. So all I'm going to do is just add in a retaining rock over here. I think I need one smaller than this actually. And this is just going to stop the sand from like coming out the front, and it'll keep it back there. So let me grab that and I'll show you guys. So I've added in the retaining rock right here, and just a smaller one as well. And this is just going to help keep the dirt and other stuff from coming out. This was an oversight last time. I didn't realize how high I wanted to actually mount up the substrate. And now this is high enough that I'll be able to let some dirt come forward, some substrate come forward, and it should actually stay. So all I'm going to do though is just add in some super glue in the contact points, just to make sure that it doesn't go sliding around, because that would be bad if it did. And in those contact points, because I don't really want it to look too ugly, I'm just going to take some of the moss that's kind of dried out and just push it in, and the glue should hold it there. It's also going to keep it from looking too bad with glue marks. And boom. Just like that, retaining wall added, and it still keeps its natural look. With all that done, I can move all this substrate around finally, and then I can get the new plants that I'm going to put in here. Alright, so the first plant that's going in, I feel that this should be obvious, but we're going to start off with some moss. I just collected this from around my neighborhood. I'm not too sure exactly what the species is, but I know it'll make this terrarium look phenomenal. So get this in, and this will be the main, really the main foreground plant. Just take a couple of big chunks and wrap it right around the base of the tree. The next plants I'm going to add are a couple cuttings of Phytonias, I believe, or better known as nerve plants, just to add in, let's focus that, it's just going to add in some color to the scape. So I'll put these in the foreground. They get along very well with moss, so I'll just kind of spread them. And I've got a pink one, I've got a red one, and I've got a green one with some red. They are looking a little rough, but hopefully I should be able to bring them back and they'll grow nice and bright. So you can see there's just a couple pops of color in the foreground which really make this scape stand out. Now following that up, I want to add a plant here as well as on the other side, kind of in this darker corner here. And my choice for that is just going to be a arrow plant. I just had this growing and all I did was just cut it at the end. Here, let me focus this. So you can see that there's just a clean cut, and then right behind the clean cut there is a couple of like nodes, I'd call them, and that's where roots are just going to grow from. So if you do grow the plant, just be aware of that and you can cut it there. So I'm just going to stick these guys, stick one of them right in here over the snake plant, then I'm going to grab the other one. It's going to go over here in this corner, kind of pop out and take the light, but nothing else is going to go into this corner because it's very dark, so if this grows any bigger, which it should, it's going to block out all the light down here. So all I have is just the one Photonia, and it might have to move, but it should be good. Alright, so next plant going in is going in this space right here, just in the back, and it's going to be this small spider plant. Obviously, this plant is most likely going to get significantly bigger. However, when that time comes, I'll be able to move it. Even if it has some little offshoots, which they sometimes do, I'll be able to take them out, no problem. Now, the next plant that I want to add in is going to add some stuff kind of up here. You can see just how tall this tank really is. It was a 20-gallon long that I did stand on its side. So there's a lot of space up here that just kind of gets neglected. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in this ivy, and I'll start it at the ground and let it kind of grow up on the tree. And that should add a little bit more to the scape, hopefully. And you can see that since the wall does have dirt on it back here, it should be able to grow in the wall as well with its roots. So with just the ivy up here, the tree does become slightly boring. So I'm going to add in more of these little guys, which are a couple of air plants. And all I'm going to do to secure them is I'm just going to put in some super glue where I want them to stick, and then I'll take the plant and just kind of push it into the spot, hold it for a couple seconds, then hopefully it stays. Yep, there we go. And look at that, that adds a lot more perspective to the tank, and it adds interest on the tree. I'll focus back down here again. This area is kind of a little rough. You can see that there's like just cracks all over, and dirt will kind of seep through. So all I'm going to do to add interest to this area and try and hide the imperfections that I see is I'm going to first add an air plant right there, and then I'm going to add in some of the old moss into all the cracks, along with I'm going to add in some new moss as well, but this is going to make it look much more natural and kind of like the moss is seeping through the cracks in the rock and just growing all over the place. Now, before I can call this scape complete, I do want to do a final touch, which is just going to be adding in botanicals. So I'm just going to kind of lay them wherever. These are all alder cones that I collected from outside. I'll add them all in. I'm also going to throw in a couple of acorn caps. Just litter the bottom with this. Then I want to throw in some leaf litter as well, just to make it feel a little more natural. And this is also going to provide nutrients to the inhabitants. As it breaks down, they can kind of munch on them, and I will not have to feed them as much. And they do really like dead leaves, so let me go and get the inhabitants, and then I'll show you guys. Now I'm going to keep the inhabitants very simple in here. Just going to add in a couple of millipedes as well as some isopods. You might know them better as potato bugs, wood lice, roly-polies, whatever you may call them. I'll just call them isopods. Those, as well as a couple of millipedes, are just going to be the crew in here. They're going to have more than enough space, and I'm not too worried about anything regarding their health. They're going to be perfectly fine in here. This is going to emulate pretty similar to what they would naturally be in. Alright, so that is everything for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And if you did enjoy, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.